Hi, I met a woman a couple of weeks ago who asked me point blank, why should I vote for a Republican? How will Republican ideas improve my life specifically? And the question surprised me, not because of the weight that it carried, but because I realized that she's the very first person to actually ask me that question. And isn't that the basis of elections? It should be. Why should you vote for me instead of Democrat Donald Payne Jr? And of course, my first thought is because after 70 years of Democrat control over our district and 30 years of the Payne family controlling it, we are far worse off than many in our country, than many other districts in our state. New Jersey is rated 4th overall in education in our country, but the schools in our district are at the bottom. 80% of 15-year-old boys and 69% of girls in our district are not at proficient levels of reading and math. What kind of a future are those children going to have? How will they ever break out of the cycle of poverty? And we desperately need a change in our district, in our state. Look at what Payne and Phil Murphy's Democrat policies are doing to us. Murphy has just mortgaged the next 35 years of our futures, and then the other day he announced his plan for 8 new taxes to help balance his failing budget. 8! So I'm running to show you that there is a different choice, a much better choice. And at its most basic level, the difference between Republicans and Democrats is regarding the size and reach of the federal government. Republicans subscribe to the original intent and principles of our founders that a small federal government with limited powers laid out in the Constitution, granted to it for the purpose of securing and protecting our citizens' personal liberties. It cannot be laid out more perfectly than in our Declaration of Independence, that governments are instituted to secure the inalienable rights endowed to us by our Creator, which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And all other powers fall to the state and local governments. There was a very specific and important reason behind this decision. Each state has a unique character with different issues affecting them. And remember, we are a republic made up of independent states. And until very recently in our history, we were called these United States, not the United States. Catch the difference? And we've witnessed this battle over the reach of federal government play out the past few months with the pandemic. The very reason that Trump allowed governors to decide the level of lockdown is because constitutionally that power belongs to the states. Biden's call to mandate masks uniformly across the country, even outdoors and when socially distancing, is unconstitutional. But he doesn't care because he's of the mindset of Democrats, of an all-controlling, centralized federal government. Democrats' basic belief is a large, powerful federal government that controls all aspects of human life, which fundamentally eradicates personal liberty. And run our lives is exactly what they want to do. Just last week, during the Democrat convention, they publicly called for free tuition, healthcare, and salaries for everyone in the country, not just citizens or legal residents. And Biden has pledged to raise your taxes. And an independent watchdog said that his proposal would result in 82% of Americans having a tax increase. So that's not just the 1% like he claims. And this total control and takeover of our economy and personal lives is diametrically opposed to American principles. We cherish our freedoms, our freedom of choice. That's what makes us a magnet for immigrants looking for a better life. They're looking for freedom and liberty, and we will never relinquish them. In 2016, my mom asked me and a relative, what's the difference between a Republican and a Democrat? And I was appalled by the straight-faced and sincerely believed answer that my relative gave. She looked at my mom, who she knew was a Trump-supporting Republican, and actually said, Democrats care about helping people, but Republicans don't care what happens to anyone but themselves. My mom's jaw dropped. And I learned that day, and the lesson has been reinforced repeatedly over the last 4 years, clearly and definitively declared during last week's Democrat convention that truly is what Democrats believe. Just a couple days ago, Nancy Pelosi actually went on the air and called the president and Republicans enemies of the state. She knows what that term means. Everybody knows what she's saying about Republicans. I have no words for her actions and words. But it's a belief that the media happily and constantly reinforces, but it is an utter and complete lie. And they're just distorting the truth. Republicans believe that we can only truly help people when we help them help themselves. Give people a hands up, a safety net, give access to better education through school choice, which Democrats vehemently oppose. And I can only determine that that's because teachers' unions oppose it. Just this month, a major teachers' union refused to return to work unless charter schools were cut. And one of their other demands, a teachers' union, was defunding police. Yeah, they were really concerned about their students. And Republicans believe in increased access to technical training and apprenticeships for good paying quality jobs that don't need a college education. We believe that the Constitution must be defended because it's the only protection that Americans have and the only protections that we need against tyranny. We believe in free speech, even hate speech, because without it, who will get to determine what you're allowed to say and think? If you cannot say it, then you'd better not think it. And that is the inherent danger with this troubling trend of cancel culture and doxing. That is their ultimate goal. And we believe in a free market. Why do you think America has been leading the world in innovation and economic growth throughout our history? It is certainly not socialism and Marxism. We believe that if you remove excessive regulations put in place by unelected lifetime bureaucrats, it makes it easier for people to start a small business in their community. The Republican Opportunity Zone should be expanded and ensure that it's the local residents who have access to these funds to open small businesses in their communities. You should get a say about what your community is like and how it's being developed, not just the buddy of your local politicians or their relatives. We believe that if you teach a person to fish, then they can eat for life. Democrats think that's cruel, that the government should raise your tax dollars and give it to others. And according to AOC, even to those who do not want to work. It is one thing entirely to help those in need, and America has a long history of that. And most importantly, I cannot stress this difference enough. Republicans have faith in Americans to make their own decisions. The only way to be truly free, which is codified in our founding documents, is for you to be able to make your own choice in all aspects of your life, so long as it doesn't infringe on anyone else's rights. Just recently, I was called just a girl by one of our party's leaders. That was his choice. My choice is to embrace it and to turn it into an empowerment rally for women. More details on that to come. So these are just the basic differences between Republicans and Democrats. My upcoming videos will delve much further into the specific reasons that we need Republican ideas right now to fix our district and to fix our nation. I'll take them on one by one. So if you have any questions or suggestions, please comment below. And if there is an issue that you're facing right now, let me know and I will address it. But for now, I will leave you with one difference between Republicans and Democrats that shocked me, but we're seeing play out right now across our nation. And that is that Republicans believe in America. We believe in Americans. Thank you. Have a great day.